Instagram versus reality. Isn't the reality part always so much more interesting though? Consulting might not be so Instagrammable, but there's definitely a bunch of nice, shiny perceptions of it that are very well Instagram. So in this video, I'm going to give you the realities behind each of those perceptions. Welcome back, by the way. I'm Charlie, a consulting director and remote business owner, and my Consultant Explorer channel is to help you be so successful in your management consulting career that you are set up for total freedom to do whatever you want to in life. The Instagram version of consulting says that you'll travel like an important business person. You know, business class flights, nice taxis, swanky hotels. Is that right? Here's the reality. You are more often than not going to be flying economy class, and your flight will likely be at a time that means you lose a ton of sleep, even if you're going to be running an important workshop either as soon as you land or very early the next morning. You will probably end up eating on your own in your hotel room at some point. That's if room service is even an option. And your budget will not cover any of the really nice hotels, but it probably will cover some sort of chain hotel that means that you can earn hotel points. And as per Instagram, you'll get to work all over the world, right? So whilst it might not be by business class, at least it's a free opportunity to explore places that you might otherwise not go to, yeah? Well, the reality isn't quite as exciting as that. Firstly, you'll travel to business regions and client office locations like industrial parks that may not be the places that you'd choose to go on holiday if you could. And even if you want to explore them, you'll have to pay to extend your trip to explore them over the weekends, because there won't be any time during the week while you're working. And lastly, you actually won't travel internationally that much. Unless you're a global expert in something, it's likely that your consulting company is going to have local experts nearer to the client office location anyway, so they'll be able to do that project work instead of flying you out. Okay, but Instagram says that at least you'll be working in a cool office in your home country, like a big glass skyscraper with cool open spaces and amazing views. That's something to look forward to. Well, firstly, you'll be at your client office more than your consulting office. So even if your consulting office is swanky, you won't actually be able to experience it. So you better hope that your client office is nice instead. And whenever you are in your swanky consulting office, you won't have your own desk, because consulting offices always have hot desks because consultants aren't in there all the time. And you might not even be able to find a meeting room because they're always so booked up. So it's not quite as cool as it sounds. Okay, so even if the work life isn't quite as cool, Instagram does say that home life will be. Consulting salaries and benefits mean employees can afford nice homes, right? That's right, that's a reality. Although it's fair to say that you'll be so busy at work that you won't actually spend so much time at home. Well, except when you're working from home. And to be honest, you'll be so busy that you won't have time to even furnish the place, so it'll take you time to make it look really nice anyway. Okay, that's definitely workable. And Instagram also says that you'll be able to afford other nice lifestyle things, like nice dinners and drinks in nice cocktail bars with friends. Well, the reality is yes, when you have the time. You will likely end up cancelling dinner and drinks plans more often than your friends in other industries, because your work will end up running into the evening. But the plus side is that over time, you do actually get better at predicting when you're going to run over. So you start to be able to set expectations much better. I cancelled dinner with my family the other day because I got tickets to an event and they were okay with it. So that's good preparation. It'll be nice to be able to take them for dinner somewhere nice. I'd be proud to do that and tell them about my work. Yeah, so the reality is that it's unlikely that either your friends or your family genuinely understand what you do when you work in consulting. Consulting is such a high-skill profession, and it's very different to a lot of the more well-known jobs. So your everyday experiences will be really quite alien to a lot of people, and it will really require you to simplify it so that they understand. Sheesh. Well, I guess that at least I'll feel a sense of pride when I'm actually at work, advising clients as a consultant. That looks like a pretty cool thing to do on Instagram. About that. In reality, as a consultant, you're paid to both advise and to do. And some clients much prefer the do part. So at the end of the day, given that the client is paying for your time, then you're going to have to do what they say. Some clients do like the advice too, so there will be the opportunity to advise, but definitely not all the time. Interesting. So when it comes to working with clients, is there more to it than what Instagram might lead us to believe? I have these visions of things like presenting an update to a C-suite client about the project and giving them the confidence that things are on track. I suppose it's not quite so rosy, right? Well, yes, you may present a positive status update to your client, but the reality is that you'll be pulling out all the stops behind the scenes to get things done. Maybe you've had to bring in more people to help. Maybe you're having to coach someone who is underperforming on your team. You're probably all even in a room together all day, every day to ensure 100% focus and no distractions. It can be really stressful. And whilst you obviously always want to keep your client updated on all the major risks, if there is an internal risk, like someone on your team is underperforming, then it's probably better to sort it out quickly without having to worry your client about it. How about if the client then asks for a change to something as you're presenting and you agree to it? I imagine it's quite a collaborative process with the client, yeah? Yeah, it's collaborative for sure. Although sometimes your client will ask for a change that you just really don't agree with. And depending on the type of client, you're either going to be able to politely disagree or you'll just have to agree and get on with it. The hardest type of change to agree with is one where your team has just spent ages with loads of effort to create this thing in the first place. And if the client hasn't been privy to the struggles and the effort involved, they're not going to understand the impact that it's going to have on the team. Maybe the most Instagrammable part then is at the start of a project. Well, before you've started it, when you've literally just sold it, that must be fun. You know, the feeling that a new client has said that they want to buy you and your team. Yeah, that's a really great feeling, although obviously not all pitches are successful. And actually sometimes when the client is so excited they just want to get started, they'll be like, can we just start on Monday? And that can give you anywhere between 0 and 4 business days to get a team together, brief them, to get them to client site. And sometimes that team is on training or on another project or on holiday, and so pulling everyone together and getting them there for that Monday deadline can be really difficult. Okay, that reminds me of one of the things that I really want to know. I've seen that sometimes managers will call you up and say that they want to staff you on their project and that this project is going to be an amazing opportunity for your career. Lots of growth opportunity and lots of senior involvement and attention. Is there anything that Instagram isn't telling me about that? Of course there is. Now, it might well be the case that it's a great opportunity, but you should also bear in mind that that manager might need to just really staff that role. And actually, they might specifically want you in that role if you're really good at your job. So the best thing to do always is to drill into the detail of the role as much as you possibly can so that you can form your own judgment. Our manager is always really positive and nice. I've actually seen quite a lot on Instagram about them being very difficult to work for and having very high expectations. So Instagram isn't always so rosy. Yes, there is a real spectrum of types of manager in consulting. There are some who are super nice, super thoughtful, and very caring. Others can be much more blunt. But you have to always bear in mind that even if someone is being blunt with you, like sending a super short email, it's likely that that person is just rushed off their feet and doesn't have the time to consciously consider how you might interpret what they're saying. Fair enough. I can imagine that. What do managers actually do to chill out if their work is so stressful? Well, if you're ever trying and failing to get hold of one on a Friday afternoon, it might well be because they're taking it off as time in lieu for the extra hours they've worked during the week. A slightly longer weekend never hurt anyone who needed to decompress a bit. So how does the reality of consulting sound to you? Let me know in the comments what you think. The reality of any job is always a little different to the shiny, rose-tinted version that we often hear from the outside. But what the reality of consulting shows us is that the types of people who are really good at just getting on with it, working hard, figuring things out when everything's changing all the time, are the types of people who will do really well. It's a competitive environment, but not a cutthroat one, and it'll encourage you to both do your absolute best work and develop a professional maturity that will serve you well into the future. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day, and I wish you all the best with your exploring.